We could just do. Hi, how are you doing? Dr. J. Coates I had just admitted a patient with a pipe through his head. I've certainly never seen anything like this before. All right, Julie, I want you to get the OR code open up. We're coming back for the wake trach. Right away, I realized what our first problem was going to be, and that was going to be to control his airway. I'm going to give you a little injection right here at the base of your neck. Typically speaking, when we operate on somebody, we put them under a general anesthetic and we intubate them. That wasn't an option with Andrew because this pipe was sticking through his mouth. So that meant that I was going to have to do what's called a surgical airway or a tracheostomy. Once we do that, we'll be able to make you real comfortable, all right? Since he had the pipe through his head, he really couldn't come back. So that made it even more difficult. So I had to do what's called an awake tracheostomy. All right, you should feel a little pressure. Your biggest concern there is that the patient suddenly moves or decides they're going to set up or do something while I've got a sharp knife in their neck trying to do a dissection. Are you in the trach? We put in a standard tracheostomy, which is a tube that goes right through the base of his neck into his trachea that lets us definitively control his airway. We're almost done, Andy. You're doing great. And then I can induce and give general anesthetic. Once he's under general anesthetic, now he's kind of out of the equation. We've got his airway controlled. We can control his pain, and he's really out. All right, Andy, you've done good. The airway is in. And you're ready for you, Dr. Coates. Dr. Stonehill knocks it. When you start getting the vascular injuries that are base of the skull,
Dr. Simmons, this is Chris the husband.
Hi there. Is Laura okay?
So far, I got ads, sad, adult, lust, and salt.
The hardship, tell it everything. They went to the hotel to celebrate their honeymoon. And that's when things got bad. That's when they started to have problems. Oh God, shouldn't we sure make love? It's your wedding night. Was making love not in the plan? And we just went so fast. I didn't even wait for her to get undressed. She just looked so beautiful in that dress. I don't know, I think we just did it too fast. Too fast. Was this her first time? Yeah.
Already got Sada up there.
Wait. And then all of a sudden, we couldn't even wait another second. The next thing I knew, there was blood everywhere. Chris, thank you. You've been very helpful. Can I see her? Just a minute. I've got to do another exam. When I'm done, I'll be able to bring you in so you can see her. But for now, I'm going to bring you back to the waiting room. Okay. Thanks, doctor. We don't have to worry about her being pregnant. She lost her virginity about 5 hours ago. With this important information, Dr. Simmet is able to locate the source of the bleeding.
Pulse 84.
We found it was a hymen that was actively bleeding, and it was just a continuous drip, a continuous drain. It just oozed blood. He decides to cauterize the bleeding using silver nitrate. If you see the bleeding and you touch it with silver nitrate, you stop bleeding. It's a chemical cautery with silver nitrate where the chemical reaction burns bleeding vessels off. But now we changed course from, is this something in the belly? Is this something that we're missing in the uterus? Is this something that's bleeding self to, wow, we just stopped the bleeding. How are the vitals?
Holding 120/70, pulse 84.
Laura?
What happened to my dress?
You had to cut it off.
Where's my necklace? What kind of necklace was it? It was gold. The cross. It was my grandmother's. It can't be gone. I'm sure it'll turn up. I'll look for it. Can I just
Laura, Chris told us what happened.
He told you.
And it's normal to have bleeding the first time you have sex. And now that we know what's going on, we can help treat it. On the brink of a diagnosis, Dr. Simmet tries to confirm his suspicions. Did anybody in your family have any bleeding disorders?
No.
Any strokes in your family? So I asked her questions to decipher whether or not she had a bleeding problem. And all of those questions were negative. None of them indicated that she might have a bleeding problem. So no problems with bleeding at all.
Dr. Simmet? She's bleeding again.
This just in.
Look at the body sky. I really need this, please. Don't bore me.
Hold on just a second. I gotta take my vitamins.
Well, you were the one that was so cute when you were 5. Now it's just 2 bitter old spinsters going at it. We are the city of I Will. I don't need to tell you how important this is.
You came to the right place.
This is the trail, all right. We have come a long way south. Wonder where Mike is. What do you think? Get out.
We're your neighbors from down the road.
Oh, okay. Good luck and goodbye. It's the craziest thing I ever heard of, Paul.
This case was a forensic bonanza.
Stacy killed her husband.
Who did this?
Three, 2, 1.
Here we go.
It's entertainment. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's great. Now you're talking. You're the best dad in the whole world.
Yes, I know. I wouldn't change a thing.
That girl.
That's terrific.
Dr. J. Coates and the trauma team aren't sure if they can remove the pipe from their patient's head without killing him.
The external carotid has flow past the pipe, as does the jugular. So for the moment, he's got blood flow to and from the brain.
What do you think is going to happen to those vessels when we pull the pipe?
It's hard to say. The vessels may be patent or they might be held in place by the pipe. If that's the case, when we take out the pipe, it's going to be a gusher.
Well, all we can do is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So let's just get him back in the operating room and see if we can't get this out. Good Lord hates a coward. Did this pipe just tear his artery in half? And was I going to pull it out? Was he going to start bleeding to death?
All right, we'll pull that.
We made a standard neck incision, which is typically from behind your ear along the curve of your neck right to the base of your neck in the front. The anatomy was very, very distorted because, of course, there's a big pipe in the middle of it.
All right, carotid
Okay,
control.
sponge.
There was quite a bit of bleeding going on. She was able to put little loops around that were able to isolate those vessels and control them. We're going to figure out how to sew this back in, Doc, because that flange isn't going to go through his head without tearing things up. So when it came time to pull that pipe out, one of the first things we had to do was actually cut the back end of the pipe off, because where EMS had clamped that pipe with the hydraulic jaws, well, it compressed it, and it had flared out the end. So we couldn't pull that through. Yeah, it would have been like razor blades on both sides of that pipe.
I think I can use a surgical drill.
How's that going to cut the pipe?
I'll drill holes in the pipe, connect the holes, double the edges so that it won't tear as it comes forward. Nobody had ever seen this before. We simply were presented with a case that we had to figure our way out of.
So we're going to need a lot of irrigation for this, and let's get the drill set up.
The idea came to me to use a surgical drill, which is used for cutting bone, and I cut bone every single day with these, but I'd never used one to cut metal. Is everybody ready? All right, let's go. The rotation of the drill would allow for minimal movement of the post while it was still in Andy's head, rather than a saw which can create a backward and forward movement of the post.
Stop. The pipe is heating up.
Okay. The heat was very much a concern of ours, and so what we did is we used lots of irrigation. We had a wet towel that we placed over the back of Andy's head and neck to provide a barrier from the metal filings and shavings that were created, as well as to allow for additional cooling so that the hole, as it heated up, didn't cauterize or cook the tissues in the area. I want to smooth these down so we don't have any rough edges as it goes through on its way out.
It took us about 20 minutes to cut through the pipe and get a clean edge of the pipe that was safe for us to pass through Andrew's head. But for everybody in the room, it felt like it took a lot longer than that.
Okay, guys, we're good.
We cut the pipe off behind his neck and chose to pull it out the way it went in through his mouth. I sure would like to control these vessels above the pipe.
Impossible to do right now, Dr. Coates.
Well, if any of them are tore up, this is going to turn into a rodeo real quick. I've got it, Captain. All right, let's start. We had done everything we could do before we pulled the pipe out, but not everything we wanted to. And so it was just a moment of truth. There was no other move left except pull the pipe out and see what happens.
What's going on, man?
One thing about this caseworker, I've
Yeah.
been noticing
test to make sure we know specifically which one it is and what we have to do long term. So we're going to admit you to the hospital for a couple days to make sure we know exactly what's going on and to get your blood levels back up to normal. Is everything okay? There's a bit of a problem, doctor. What's that? We're broken. We don't have any insurance.
This is insane.
Look at this beauty.
This is insane. Oh, God. I did pay $10 for this girl. Oh, that's so good. This is insane.
I heard you guys said, you know what? I'm gonna scare the crap out of them like they did me.
All kinds of fighting goes on here. There's no off season in the UFC. The sickness is real.
All across the world, extraordinary animals push the limits of what's possible.
That to me feels like freedom.
Dr. Trevan Jasper is in the middle of a diagnosis when he is suddenly interrupted.
Hey, what's going on?
Can you go get more hospital security?
Who's up there? What's going on, man?
You're thinking, man, this is crazy. I got this guy crawling around. Maybe he's not trying to escape. Maybe he knows that the other guy's there and he's trying to get to him. Who knows?
I got those 2 words.
Scared the crap out of us down here. So the only thing I can think of is that it has to be something with his spinal cord. An inflammatory process or myelitis. So we're going to need to get an MRI of Mr. Garcia. Can you guys help us? We're going to need to roll Mr. Garcia into a rectal exam before we send him over to MRI. So on my count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, wait.
We were left with a large hole where the pipe had entered, a very large hole through the roof of his mouth. We were left with a hole through the back of his neck, and then his lower jaw was split at the same time. What a mess.
We need to bring you to the hospital for a couple days. After determining that his patient needs to be admitted to the hospital,
Is there a problem?
Dr. Simmet hits another roadblock.
Yeah. We're broken. We don't have any insurance.
Let me see what I can do. Yes, I do need to keep her. I can't send her home.
Dr. Summit's calling around trying to get the patient admitted to OBGYN or surgery or whoever will take her. And when they found out she didn't have any insurance, then we knew we had a problem, and he just said, I'll take her under my service. And knowing he wasn't gonna get paid for it.
I knew what I had to do. I called the administrator and said, we need to keep her. No one else will do it. Is it okay if I keep her? So I admitted her to the hospital to get further testing and find out exactly what it would be that she needed to stop her from bleeding. Okay, let's get the patient upstairs. Can you guys have a lost and found?
Well, I don't believe it. It wasn't a typical wedding night for this couple, but in the end, it worked out.
Laura, you like maybe changing. Look what I found.
After more testing, doctors found that Laura's blood is a component called von. She needs no further treatment unless or experiences severe bleeding. This really put medicine in the right place. Our job was just to stand on the side and help make life easier and more comfortable for the people who come to us. And I think that's what we did.
Doctors are supposed to help people.
The surgical team has removed the pipe from their patient's head. Now they do an angiogram. There's still blood flow to the brain.
Looks like there's flow.
This guy's unbelievable.
Good job, everybody. Looks like you're Jeff. Good luck.
Next, it became my responsibility to put Andy's face back together and try and make sure we didn't have anything serious happen along the way. What a mess. Well, initially I
And
spent
that little
a great deal
baby.
of time picking fragments
Working
of
on
bone
things.
and teeth and roots of teeth
Okay, baby?
out of the path of where the pipe was. And that took nearly an hour. What am I going to do to put this thing back together here? We were left with where the pipe had entered